What's up, legends? Hope you're having an amazing Thursday. It is just in time for midweek reversal. So we're going to talk about that. What are the chances of us actually having a midweek reversal? And also with the price action just being so weird this week, what way would midweek reversal even be? So I've got a few things to show you on this chart over here. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Shout out to the TTC tribe as well. Be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and turn that bell button to all so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Now, we are in the gap as I'm filming this. By the time this gets online, the US session will have opened. So I'm going to talk about where price is right now as we get into the UK close and where we may be leading into and what the setup might be for the US coming up shortly. I'm going to start with Bitcoin, and looking at this chart right here, we can see here that this little mess was the FOMC last night, and the market really didn't know how to process what was going on. That made price action really quite tricky, especially on a smaller time frame, which prompted me to then zoom out to the higher time frame to get a bit of a bigger picture of what was going on. And I just want to show you this post from Discord. Now, this was my last post last night before I headed to bed as a potential setup for the Aussie community in TCC Discord, or people who trade the Asia session. But this right here is the 4-hour time frame, and this was the kind of setup that I was looking at. Now I'm going to explain that to you on a bigger chart. At the time, we also had these heat map orders here that were at 29,375. Now that was under the current price during the FOMC. So that led me to believe that in this ideal scenario here, that following the FOMC, we're going to go a little bit higher. So now let me show you that 4-hour chart in full detail so you can see exactly what I was pointing out. And this is what we're looking at here, which is, it's a pretty typical structure actually. We have this sideways consolidation, we had the final spike high down here, and then price has recently broken this retail support, which would have been at about 29.7 kind of region. We've broken that. We look like we are in the process of creating a bear flag before further continuation to the downside. We also have these EMA crosses here, the 50 and the 200 on the 4-hour time frame, and we had a liquidation level that was sitting at 29,552. So now if I go back to the 15-minute time frame, that post was done right after FOMC, and we can see towards the end of US here, we did get that spike into that zone that did take out those liquidations at that 29,552. So it was eating back into this unrecovered vector candle right here, but it hasn't made it into the smaller one above. When we have a really big fall away like that, if preceding a big candle like that, there is another vector that is small after a consolidation, like you can see here, that's the candle that gets my attention, because that small candle there is the final battle zone. It's the final battle between the longs and the shorts before somebody wins. I think of it like a tug of war, right? Like it's a really small candle, there's high volume, that's why it's a magenta color, and both sides are battling each other to keep price up and to push price down. Then eventually somebody gets weak, somebody gives up, and the market moves. And in this case, the longs gave up and the shorts win, and price moves down. So when we have a particular situation like that, I always look to see if price can come back into that smaller candle, because that's going to give me the idea of where we may reject next. And that lined up with the 4-hour bear flag that I just showed you. So that's why it became my area of interest. It's also at the 800 EMA on the 15-minute time frame, and towards the end of the US, we did spike into that zone. The question is, are we actually going to fall away now? Because one thing you could say is this now has created a peak formation, and this UK high, the highest point that UK went so far, has created a lower high in comparison to that formation. So is that an M formation that's going to lead to midweek reversal? Should midweek reversal even be to the downside? Well, let's zoom out and just have a look at the week so far. Now we can see here that we had the false move week beginning to the upside. Monday gave us the 3-level drop that played out as it was meant to, and once once it gave us that final drop to the downside, even though it's been horrible price action, it really has been horrible price action this week, from that Monday US until this moment here, until US closed last night after FOMC, we have been creating higher highs and higher lows. That does mean that the 3-day swing at the beginning of the week was to the upside. Even though it was horrible price action, it was to the upside. Market structure is simple. Higher highs, higher lows, that's up and to the right. That means midweek reversal should be down and to the right, which means we should be looking for M formations. The only problem is that we haven't started to pull away yet. So even here, we're right on the 50 EMAs. I am talking about this. US has just opened right now. Usually it takes about half an hour into US for us to get any volatility if we're going to get it. Here's what I'd be watching out for. I can't say if this M formation is going to play out. If the right side of the M is going to form anytime soon, it needs to break that 50 EMA with volume, and it's right on it right now. And that leads me to believe that there is a chance that this is not it just yet, because even though we have the lower high at this point, right as I'm filming this, we also still have a higher high. So essentially, all we've really got to deal with right now is a squeeze. So we need to wait and see which way it breaks out of this. And the fact it hasn't fallen away, that is a bit of a worry, because I would like to have seen that happen if this was going to be a true M formation. So they may not be done yet. Another reason why they may not be done yet is because of the heat maps. So if we have a look at the heat maps, we can see we still have high level short orders up here at 29,800. So is it possible that they still want to creep up to that level before we get any reversal? It's absolutely possible, because there's not really any high level orders between the current price at 29,470 to those orders at 29,800 that want to push price down. But what we do have is every now and then this flashes off. So you can see here underneath price right now at 29,400, there are higher than normal orders trying to hold price up. Now, the thing is, if they do succeed and we don't fall away anytime soon, and we do go up to that 29,800, that's actually going to end up being up here, which is going to then be a higher high in comparison to that. So that's making me wonder if there is something that is going on that is going to set up for another news event, because all the news events for today are over with. If we have a look at Forex Factory, we can see here that we had advanced GDP today and unemployment claims. They're already done. So if they were going to cause a reaction in the market, it would have already happened. And we're free to trade the rest of US. So then we have to look to tomorrow. What do we have going on that maybe the US is setting up for a move to happen tomorrow instead, and that the midweek reversal, it may not actually happen today, because we're in US now and this is the last session of the day. So if US is going to set up for something tomorrow, then the first session tomorrow is going to be Asia. So in Asia tomorrow, we have the Bank of Japan outlook report, monetary policy statement. Now they're only tentative at this point in time, so just keep that in mind. The BOJ press conference, and then we've got some other US news events at 4:30 p.m. Dubai time, which is core PCE and unemployment costs. This is also an earnings week as well, so it could be anything that comes out. Speaking of which, being earnings week, you need to keep an eye on on DXY. I didn't know. I haven't looked at the DXY in like a few minutes, but you can see here, the last time I looked at it, we were in this zone right here, and I had this marked. So I had this M formation. This was level 1 drop, retrace. This was level 2. I don't know why this straight vertical is making me laugh so much, but this is level 2 drop, and this was level 3 here. And I was waiting to see if we got a W formation, but we've just got a level 1 rise of all level 1 rises right now. So this is insane. But essentially, this is what has caused this fake pump. I actually don't even know, but I don't even know if it's fake, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, if it's going to prove itself at some point, it needs to come back, retest EMAs, and then have continuation to the upside. But how is that possible, guys? How is it possible that the DXY has moved like that? It's not a mark on my screen. Those are real candles. How is it possible that we've shot all the way through like that and Bitcoin hasn't moved? let's show you everything else. All right, so we've got, this has got to be something to do with earnings reports that must be coming out right now as I film this. I don't have the details. I'm sorry, it's happening in the moment. So I'm sure we will figure it out after this video has been posted. But if the NASDAQ is flying like that, it's something to do with earnings reports. But how is this initial reaction? NASDAQ flying and DXY flying. Here's my thing. If this is going to continue on the NASDAQ, then Bitcoin may catch up. So what I was saying before about I'm not liking how this M hasn't fallen away, Bitcoin might catch up. I'm going to finish this video, guys, because I want this out there and I want you to keep an eye on it. Here's the thing. If Bitcoin cannot break down with a vector very, very soon, expect further upside into that 29.8 region and then reassess what happens there. Say between 29.7 to 29.8. Reassess what happens there. However, if we can get a breakdown soon, I would let it break down below the EMAs, come back and give you a retest with a new lower high. Then you're sure that you've got an M formation. It's been confirmed with the lower high afterwards, and you're safer to take your short positions there. It's very tricky right now with what is going on the NASDAQ and that DXY. Sometimes Ethereum can lead and give us a hint of what's going on. And Ethereum, I really did like the setup prior to filming this, which was we had this vector candle here that formed at the end of US last night. Price moved away and has come back into the zone, but it hasn't fully closed it. It has not been able to get back above the HOD, and it does look like we're falling away. But again, we don't have the red vector break of the 50 EMA. So I would definitely play this safe. We also still, at this point in time, we still have higher lows on Ethereum as well. So keep an eye what's going on with the DXY. See if it gives us that proof of the move, which will take some time, but we want to see if that comes back eventually to give us that higher low. Then you will know that DXY is actually going to continue moving to the upside, and that is where we will then finally expect our midweek reversal on cryptocurrency. Guys, I do have one more thing to say before I end this video, and that is that we have opened our free Discord again. We did close it for a while, but we have reopened it. So if you're not already part of the paid community with the access to all of our courses and our team and whatnot, be sure to have a look at the link in the description of this video for the free Discord. Click on that and it will give you details on how to get in. If you're already a TTC member, no need, because you're already in there and you're getting full access. So nothing will change for you. All right, guys, have an amazing evening. Trade safe on this one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.